Hi guys, and welcome to the Untold Truth podcast. My name is Nakode and I'll be your host for this show. The Untold Truth podcast, as the name suggests, seeks to uncover stories that are not told in various industries. So it can be lifestyle, it can be tech. There's so much more we are bringing to you on this show. Talk about things that have been covered, people are not talking about. We want to get to know it. And on today's episode, which is our very first official episode, we are talking about workplace exploitation, how people are being exploited in the workplaces, how the workplace has become toxic for people to live in. We want to get to know people's stories. People have shared their stories. We want to talk about them. And on this show, there is something special I do. As I pass you the card, that means you're the person to speak or share your story. And I'm going to give it to my speakers to introduce themselves. So I'll start with my lady.
Hi, my name is Belinda Dakwa, and I do a lot of things. So I'll just say that I run an events management organization, and I do project management as well. And I'm happy to be here.
Lovely to have you. Please pass the card to the gentleman.
All right, my name is Edwin, and I'm a brand designer here at Discuss Channel by day, and by night I'm a freelance designer.
All right, that's cool. That's great to hear. All right, so we are just going to jump right into our conversation. And before we start, I'm just going to give a little rundown of what workplace exploitation is. So being subjected to like physical threats or violence or being bullied in any forms or even being forced to work for hours without breaks or being subjected to poor workplace health or safety and working conditions or absence of legally required personal protection equipment can be termed as workplace exploitation. So I'm just going to go into it. So I'm giving you a background of what basically we are going to be talking about. And before I start, we're going to talk about this. Belinda, has there been like anything crazy that has happened to you at work that you questioned yourself and were like, is this really happening? Can you just give like an instance of something like that happened? You're like, is this really happening at the workplace? Or
I think yes, a couple of things actually. But then I think what I would actually talk about would be some time back when I went to work for one organization, and I realized that how do I put it? The senior staff in the organization, they had come up with, I don't know, whatever story or whatever it was, and spreading across like the other staff members that I was dating one of the top bosses in the organization, when I actually had never spoken to the guy before. Like, so I was like, how is this happening? You know? So yeah, that was it for me. That one thing that happened, and I was like, I don't understand what is happening.
I mean, that would be crazy, right? Having an imaginary boyfriend you didn't even know about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think with Edwin, you're a freelancer. So has there been any incidents with the clients that are like, is this really happening? Is this client being serious right now? Or such an incident that you could share with us?
I think probably there would be a few instances that has happened.
Please share. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, so I think the clients didn't really know the direction they were going in, and so they were asking for many revisions, and unfortunately there was no contract that was signed before, and so it was all on me to make sure they're happy, and we went through so many iterations, and in the end I was almost burnt out, so it was kind of difficult. You get revisions like make it pop, make the logo bigger. The usual things, the colors are too dull, change the colors and
Yeah.
things like that. And so in that way it becomes frustrating and it takes the joy out of the work.
All right. That's great. So like what Edwin said, there was a video on Instagram that was like, when a client asks you to make the white whiter, but you use FFF. I think the designers in the audience will get it more.
Yeah.
All right. So, we have like red flags in relationship. There are things that if you're going to date somebody, you don't want to see. I think in the workplace or in an organization as well, we try to look for red flags. So what are some of the red flags, like Edwin, for you? If it's like a job or a company or a client, what are some of the red flags you look for that this person, this is not the kind of clients I want to work with? What are some of the things you look for?
Okay, I think one red flag would be if they say, I have a cousin who can do it. I think that's a very big red flag. Some people tell you that I know someone who can do it, but
Yeah.
I just want you to do it. Or if the person has a little bit of design experience, they feel like at least they are a little bit expert inside. So
Mm-hmm.
they try to micromanage you and it becomes a whole lot. So I would say those would be one of my main red flags.
All right. Please pass the card to Belinda.
Okay, so for me, my red flag, which I feel like I wouldn't be really able to identify like at the first instance or at the first look at a company, but my red flag would be if the head CEO, maybe head of my department or CEO, whoever is a womanizer. I don't think I don't think I would want to work in such an organization because I've had way too many experiences with that, and I really don't think I want to go back all the way back to all those things again. So yeah, that would be my red flag.
All right. I think for me, I would just also want to add my major one is we are family. We are not family.
That's true.
We just came to work to make money. Don't like try to lick my. We are family. Saying, like they always do that just to like corner you. So anytime there's something like, oh, we are family,
Yeah,
so you can't be
yeah.
able to speak your mind. No, we are not a family. I don't know you. I just applied for the job to come and do it. Allow me do my job and go home. All right. I think the next question would be on like friendships in the workplace. We've had like instances where we have like friendships in the workplace, or even like when we are in high school, we used to have cliques a lot. And then how do you think like cliques and friendships in the work environment tend to affect like how we work or our work dynamics?
I think. I mean, first off, when you're working in a space, I think you cannot not have friends. You definitely there are some people you definitely
All
connect with
right.
and everything. But then, I personally, when I enter into a space, I don't know whether it's a selfish trait, but I look out for the people I want to associate myself with. So I look at, okay, this guy, I feel like, oh, he's a smart guy. Okay, I want to associate myself with him. And then I sort of try to get into your space and all of that. And then eventually you would see that, I'm sure, let's say for instance, if I'm a new person into a new a workspace, there's obviously the person who I'm looking to probably get close to has already, maybe a couple of friends or stuff like that. So if for instance you have somebody that you already have a vibe with, and then I come into the picture, I also want to maybe get close to you, I think I would have to sort of figure out how to also get close to whoever it is. And I think that is how maybe those cliques form in workspaces. I think those cliques are good to some extent because, especially when you need to work on things together, you need to understand, yourselves as a team and all of that. Those things are good to an extent, but those things can eventually grow into something that is toxic, because you realize that you always see a group of people together, sort of gossiping, giggling or something, and you feel like, what are they talking about? And you feel like you're missing out on something,
Exactly.
and you don't know how to like enter into their space, and so those kinds of things. So I think those things are, you can have like a set of people that you are really close to and can talk to about work and all of that, but you should be conscious of it because you're not in a space just by yourself or just as a group. You have other people in that space as well, so you should just be mindful of
All
those
right.
things. Yeah.
So just follow up on what you said. Like how you said, it sometimes make you like people are giggling, talking about. How does that like, it kind of sometimes affects like the workplace dynamics.
Yeah.
And people feel like they are being bullied or like the kind of trust they have in the work environments. How do you think like such the like if how do I even put it? Like it affects people's work and then people being exploited with those kind of things, because there are sometimes people can be in cliques and people will be using them to get their work done and they don't know,
Yeah.
because they feel like, okay, this is my friend. How do you think like this kind of things play out? I don't know if you get the kind of question I'm trying
I
to
think
ask.
let me see if I actually get it and try to answer. So you're asking how those cliques and groups sort of affect people's work in terms of.
Exactly. And then trust in the organization basically.
Okay. So I think, I mean, that thing goes a really long way because first of all, as I said, you will see people talking here and there, and they can bring a lot of things in an individual, like even sometimes insecurities, because you think they are laughing at you. Meanwhile, maybe they
Exactly.
might not be laughing at you. You know, they might not be laughing at you, but you would see them giggling and things, and you might think so many things. And then there are also those, sorts of bosses who, I don't know how to put it, but whether it's intentional or unintentionally, sort of create those groups, because anytime there's like work to be done, like you said, they sort of, go to this particular type of people or close people to say that, oh, we need this and that. And you see that when they're mentioning the number of people who need to be where, they'll say, oh, let's say Edwin. And we all know that Edwin and maybe Belinda are like close friends in the kind of organization. And you realize that they are they're always the ones that are, people are going to help them to work, or the manager is probably going to work and all of that. And I feel like those things, as they keep on happening, there are people in the workplace, as I said, it breeds insecurities. People even feel like maybe their jobs are on the line, because if I'm not doing much in an organization, I'll probably start to think that, like, what's happening? Is it because I'm not doing my best? And you can't, and because there are a certain type of people, and when people are together, it's hard to like come,
Yeah.
in between. So even if you have an issue, you can't really go and talk, because you feel like, if I tell something to Nana, I might even come and tell Belinda about it.
Exactly.
So all those things, they are like, they serve as bridging grounds for people to have insecurities. People now it affects people's, their mental health, because now they're thinking so many things about work, and some people will not even feel like too free to enter or come into their workspace, because they're always thinking that this particular group is going to do this, or they're going to do that. So I think it's truly has like a really negative effect on people. And that's why I said in the beginning that if you or your friends are in a group or something like that, you should be really mindful of your interactions, because it has very diverse and negative effects on people and how they think about things.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. Edwin, have you had like such an experience, the click experience, where you've gone to like a workplace or a work environment and like guys will say squad. People have their own squad, and how does that really affect your work in that particular setting?
I think generally it's a good thing. Ideally, it's supposed to be a good thing, but being humans, it would always tend in some way affect the people. So let's say you are part of a group, and you, as Belinda says, someone from outside comes, the person is tagged as an enemy, and it becomes like a sort of everyone is trying to avoid the person, and it doesn't really help the work environment. So for me, I am not one for drama. So
So how do you
I'm
like
here,
avoid the
drama is here.
drama?
So I think generally it's mind your business. Simple.
Right.
If you need anything, reach out to anyone that you think would help you. But that generally also makes people think like, oh, this guy is selfish. This guy doesn't really like associating with people, which also could breed some toxicity in the workplace. So generally, I would say try to minimize interaction as much as possible. And I think what most people fail at doing is they share too much personal details. I think that's something that people should be careful about, because it can be used against you.
Yeah.
You
But
don't really know.
don't you think like sometimes I feel like, okay, I have gone to, maybe I've worked for this person for a year and I kind of feel like this is my friend.
Right.
So I feel like I can share this with the person. I think I don't know how we can go about it, but I personally feel like sharing personal information at the workplace. Now there's this story that go and do your job and come home. But
Right.
after a while, we are all humans.
Yeah.
I would get to become friends with you. So how do you think we can go about it? Because like definitely conversations will come up. I would share some personal things maybe I'm not supposed to share with you, but
Right.
because I kind of feel I trust you, I'll tell you. How do you think we can go about such a situation?
Um, I think that, I personally don't really agree with what people say that go do your work and come back home. I feel like that doesn't really work, because if you work a 9 to 5, for instance, every day, Monday to Friday, even for some Monday to Saturday, where is the time to meet other people? Like, where are you going to meet a friend to talk to about your problem? Yeah, anybody anywhere because Monday to Friday you are at work. Majority of the day you're at work. So
Yeah.
like where are you going to find that person to come and share your issues with? So I think there just needs to be that balance. First off, you need to actually get to know the people in your workspace very well. And that's why I said that when I enter into a space, I look at okay, like the people that I sort of have a vibe with, or the people that are doing things that I feel like are connecting to what I want to do. So if I identify those people, I study them for a while. I realize that oh, this person has a good vibe. This person is not selfish or always looking down on people or those kinds of things. I'm like, okay, let me get close to the person. I'll be able to find out more. So as I get close to you, I know the kinds of things I can share with you. There's some people you can share maybe workplace like issues with. There's some people you can share maybe relationship issues with. It all boils down to you actually like studying the kinds of people you allow into your space, even in the workspace. So you know them, you know how they maneuver, how they behave. You study them for a while, and then it's not everybody at all that you share anything at all with, but you have to, be wise and discern the kind of people they are because before you open up to share. And as we said, as time goes on, a year or two, you'll definitely be able to know who a person truly is. They can't hide their character forever. So
Yeah.
as you know them, then you know the kinds of things that you can share with them. The rest of them, you tell God about it.
Edwin, do you have anything to add to what Belinda said?
I think I would agree with what she says. It's just finding the right people and striking the balance of what to share and what to keep to yourself.
All right. Right. That's great. Thank you so much. So I'm taking us back. I just want to ask, like, I just want you to share like a very short story or a very light story on how like your trust in a company or an organization was broken, or even a job you did some for somebody was broken or was challenged, like challenged you. And were you able to, like, till now, have you been able to overcome it? How is your relationship with like other companies after that? What was the experience like? So Edwin.
I don't think I've had that experience before, so I don't think I might have a story to share.
All right. I think then your work experience has been very amazing. It's been smooth.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to encounter good people
All
in my
right.
way.
Yeah.
We bless God for you. All
Yes, we do. Bless God for your life.
right. Please pass the card to Belinda.
Okay, so for mine, um, I went on a work trip, and when we were on the trip, I think the driver who was, driving, so a couple of us in the work car, and of course, the man himself or the boss was also in the car. So we went on a work trip, and then I think the driver mentioned that there was something wrong with the car at a certain point of the trip, so we should like try and fix it or figure it out before we leave. So me, I didn't even pay attention to it because I felt like, oh, eventually they will actually do it because we went to do something. So we all got down of the car. So I thought he has actually gone ahead to fix it. So we came back, sat in the car. I mean, we all went, and in the middle of our journey, we had an accident, and it was a really terrible accident. The car somersaulted. If I'm not too, if I don't like, I mean, I don't know if I remember correctly, but more than 4 times, and it was terrible. Like it was really really bad. One of our colleagues, like I was even scared for her because the way she was looking, it looked like she was almost gone. So I mean, after everything, we called an ambulance. An ambulance came to carry us to the next like wherever the location we're going to. Eventually we got there. One of the colleague who I said was looking very bad, she got admitted. So the rest of us went to our hotel. We went to hospital first, of course, took some drugs and everything, and we went to the hotel. And I mean, we were all in a like shock because like yeah, everybody was in their thoughts and everything. But that was not even the issue. I mean, yes, we've had an accident, which was terrible, but that wasn't even the issue. The next morning, we got a text. As I said, our boss was in the car. We got a text from him saying that we should all meet at the restaurant. We met at the restaurant, and then this guy is like, "Yeah, it's terrible what's happened, but the job has to go on." I'm like, bro, what? And mind you, we are going like we are traveling to all the regions in Ghana. So we are moving from one region to the other. I just had an accident. I haven't even like gotten over the fact that I just got involved in an accident too. They're telling me that we are going to continue the trip. We are going to rent another car because the car was like, the car couldn't function again. The car was, I don't know, yeah, and Like the driver was even saying that he's having body pains and things. Me myself, my back was aching. Like everybody was, in their thoughts trying to like just like handle what had happened. And you're like, we are going to continue the trip the very next day. Like like I serious. I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't, and that was when I realized that no, no, this is somebody who truly doesn't really care about us, or like the person just wants us to do work and that's it. And from that day, I had like a whole new perspective and thoughts to that particular workplace and everything that went on there. So yeah, that was it for me.
Yeah. All right. That's a very traumatic experience.
Very,
I'm
very
sorry,
traumatic.
Belinda, about your experience. I like the part where you said, like, I'm one more. Like, so I think with this particular topic, I also have a little to share. I've had like quite a fair share of like employer things that has changed my mind about how I work. Sometimes I just pray that God heals me so that I'm able to work better for new
Yeah.
employers, because I've had instances where you feel like you are giving your all to an organization, they are giving you very little money, and then like there's no like sense of encouragement or appreciation for the kind of work you do. How can you like give me a role and then like let's say I'm doing even more than the role because I can design, I can do other things. So I'm like, why don't I do all these things for this company? And then I do it based, it's not part of my job description. I'm doing it and you are still not appreciating it. And you're making me feel as if I'm not doing enough. Then let's just end it. Employ somebody to do design, employ somebody to do the other things, and see if you're going to pay the person that amount of money you're giving me, and like that kind of sense of entitlement you have on that person. So since then, when I move into an organization, before I even tell them, okay, this is what I do, I just first show this is the job I can do, this is what I apply to come and do. I'm not doing anything extra because if I design for another client outside, I'll charge more money than I'm even getting here. So why do I do that? And I feel like employers should learn to like appreciate the kind of work people do for them, because people don't see that, okay, this person is not even supposed to do this job. And there's one thing about companies, I feel like they don't know how to write job descriptions, because
That's very true.
you tell somebody that you want me to come and like let's say manage a program or maybe be a designer or maybe do this. You say you want a UI UX designer. UI UX designer, graphic design fan hobby.
No.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
But you'll be exploiting the person, then you're a designer, they'll come and tell you come and shoot video. And also fan hobby. Do you get what I'm saying? But all those things were not discussed in the JD. And
Yeah.
even if you're exploiting the person to do that, at least appreciate the people for the kind of work they do. So that's just the little I'll add on this whole workplace. Like I'm saying, I'm praying God heals me from that. And then I change that mentality when I move into another organization, basically. All right. The next thing is, what are like in your dream job or in future, what are some of the things you think should be abolished in like work cultures? Like one culture you want to be abolished or you don't want to see in an organization anymore?
I think I'll let Edwin go first.
One thing I would like to see abolished, I would say probably the facade of, as you said before, we are family.
Yeah.
It's as if they are trying to emotionally, um, I don't know if to use blackmail or gaslight you into feeling guilty if you do something that is outside of the company.
Yeah.
So there are some people, I saw a story online where the man tendered in his resignation as 2 weeks. Most companies require 2 weeks earlier. And just after he submitted him, they fired him from the they fired him that we no longer require your assistance, whilst he was doing a lot for the company. So it's like they don't really need you until they don't really need you. Or
Can you explain that a
they
little?
act like they act like they need you until they don't really need you. So they say, "Oh, we are family. Can you do this? Can you do this?" Exploit you and underpay you and stuff. And when it comes to the point where they feel that they need to let go of workers, you are the first to go. So I would say that coming in playing with the how things are. You are here to work. This is what we are doing here. Instead of trying to exploit people. So I would say that that would be one of the toxic work cultures that I would like to see abolished.
All right. That's cool.
I think Edwin mentioned something that I wanted to comment on. I've even forgotten what it is. I think he mentioned that yeah, by the time you realize they need you until they don't need you, something like that,
Yeah.
right? I think that's not what we are discussing now, but I just need to I feel like I really need to put this out there. That
Yeah,
I
feel
mean
free.
like do I mean nobody's saying don't work. Like work hard, work smart, work okay, like give your all when you're working. But don't ever think that when you are gone, that work will not continue.
Yeah.
Don't ever in your life, ever think that when you die or something happens to you, you get sick or something, that work will not go on. It will shock you that the second you're out of that door, somebody else is going to replace you and do that work. So don't ever think that, oh, because we are family and because they are saying this and all of that. No. Like that thing, and I have friends who are doing that, killing themselves, working day and night. And that brings me to what I was the work culture that I want to. I think I don't even know if it's a culture or whatever it is, but making people feel bad for taking their leave. Like there are some organizations that you need to give like 50 years notice for your own leave and give like 50,000 reasons why you want to take a leave. I really don't get it. I mean, it's in your organizational policy that, oh, you're entitled to this leave for this number of days. But then when it comes for the time, like, why do you want to go on leave and all those things and you can't take more than this? And like, why? You have said it in your policy or whatever that I can take this number of leave days. And now you're telling me that I can't go on this leave because of and I mean so many reasons why. And then you make people feel so bad for taking time off to rest from the work they've been doing. I mean, who does that? And I think it's in Ghana here that a lot of companies are doing that. I don't know. I think maybe outside should be better.
Yeah.
But here in Ghana, too many companies are doing that, making you feel bad. As I said, I have friends who and like it's serious. Oh. Seriously, she worked for 2 years, Monday to Saturday. 2
Saturday.
years, no leave. 2 good years.
Is it that she didn't ask or it's not part of the company policy to give leave? Sorry.
It's part. It's part of the company policy. Anytime she wants to go on leave, there's one thing or the other happening, and it's like you are the only one who is doing this. And I mean, one thing after the other, and 2 good years,
Crazy.
no leave. No leave. And she's always complaining, my back, my body, my days. Obviously, because yes, 2 years, Monday to Saturday. I'm even surprised that she hasn't even gotten like bedridden or something. Because I personally know I won't be able to handle that. So that thing of companies, some things are there. It's like it's just in the book for whatever sake. But when it comes to practicalizing it, these companies they refuse to do that, and I think we should really put a stop to it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed what she said. So I think I'm also going to share a little light on this. Also giving people what they are due and stop giving pizza as like compensation for somebody performing well. The hell? I've worked my ass off for like the entire year. You are giving me bonus, I could do pizza. Like a lot of companies in Ghana do it. And like sometimes I ask myself, like, Mr. Boss or manager, is it that your staff are just worth food to you? Food. Because somebody has done so much the entire year. It is the staff that is keeping the company running. The least you could do is compensate them for the work they've done.
Yeah.
What is pizza? Like, I don't know. They make it feel like it's something special. I don't know. Maybe in Ghana, we've made pizza look like it's some super food or it's a special food. But pizza is like any regular food, wache, whatever it is.
It's even a junk food.
Exactly. It's even making me sick. And then like they'll buy pizza for the team. It's not even like one box for each person. No. You're sharing.
Oh my God.
You're sharing it. Do you get it? Like maybe a team of 20 people. Then they'll go and buy 4 boxes or 5 boxes of pizza. And then 1 liter Coke. With the small cups. Like,
oh my God.
and they'll call for a meeting. And they actually have speeches during that time. Like, I appreciate the work people have done. You've done so well. So, but there's like sometimes I feel like we should also be like ashamed as maybe employers or owners of companies if we do that to people because
Yeah.
I am making you make so much money. How much? If like giving them like maybe 10%, even 1% of what the company has earned in the entire year is fair. But giving people like slices of pizza to say thank you for the hard work they do is not appreciative. And I feel like HR should also do better because they are the people who speak for us. So if you, the HR, you can't abolish some of these things and get people to be treated well, I think the last thing I would also want to say on abolishing is relationship between HRs and staff. Because in most organizations, human resources are supposed to be the spokespersons for the staff, not spokespersons for the boss or whatever it is, because you are human resource. You are supposed to be there for the staff. But we realize that in a lot of organization, it's been reversed. I don't know if it's just in Ghana. It's been reversed. You have organizations where something is happening to the staff. The HR says nothing about it. They're acting oblivious about what is happening. And then their boss is the one calling shots for the HR. But I feel like HR should be neutral. So those are some of the things I feel like should be abolished.
But I think the thing about HRs, I don't know, it's a bit tricky. I think we should have gotten one HR. Maybe in our next episode or something, we should get an HR here. Yeah, because I've actually thought about that thing, and I always ask myself, is HR, for the company or like let's say for the boss or whoever or for the staff? Because sometimes, as you said, even not sometimes, most of the time, they always communicate, what the bosses or what the organization wants and less of what the staff or employees actually need. So I think that's another topic we should discuss. The HR, we need them to come and explain some of these things to us. We do.
Oh my days. I think that they are supposed to be like the neutral ground between staff and employers.
Yeah.
So they look out for both sides, looking out for the interest of the company, making sure that the company is running well. And you need to do that by making sure your staff is okay because the well-being of the people you are working for is the one that is going to make companies grow.
Yeah.
I've been talking about well-being. Now it has even brought my mind to something else. Like the conversation on how like organizations look out for the well-being of their staff. Have you had like I think your example you shared about your accident incidents shows how like some organizations do not really take care of their employees, even on the conversation of not even allowing people to go for leave. It's also an issue like I feel like HR should look at. I think we have to have that HR
Yeah,
conversation.
we do. We really do.
All right. Let me see what else. All right. So I think we've spoken about a lot of exploitation. But before we wrap up, I also want to ask, like, has there been instances something has happened to you in an organization or with an employer that you felt like well appreciated? It made you feel good about the work you're doing. It's taking quite a while. Oh my god.
Okay. I'm pretty sure there should be. I think it wasn't from the organization per se. I think it was from one of the bosses around. So at a point in time, I was working in an organization, and in the department that I was in, I felt like I wasn't doing as much. So I felt like I was being underutilized. And then there was this boss around who I didn't go to him to say, oh, I feel like I'm not doing anything, but I was like, oh, if you have any extra work, I can help you with and those kinds of things. And so he was like, oh, yeah, he has some things that he would like me to help him with and stuff. So I actually began supporting and helping him. And through that help that I gave him, I mean, he would tell me that, oh, I'm doing a good job. He would instruct me, guide me on how to do it right and everything. And eventually he got me introduced to like the top dog of the organization. And it sort of opened, there was that how do I put it, like that path was open for me to
Yeah.
like rise higher in that organization, even though I didn't stay long there. But if I had stayed longer, I could have easily maneuvered my way to the like a higher position than I was. And I felt like that's he telling me how much he appreciated me and going a step further to sort of introduce me to somebody who could actually make sure that I was going higher than what I was already doing. I felt like it was, a very good way of him appreciating.
All right. Edwin.
Okay, I would say in my experience, it would be when I was working with, well, I have several, but I would say when I was working at CSIR, and I think one time we usually work a little over the time. So closing time is 4 p.m., but sometimes we work 6 p.m., 7 p.m. before we leave home. And I think I was with a few other guys in the office, and the boss came around and he saw that we were working and was quite impressed. And so he gifted us something that we should use. I think it was about 200 CDs each or something like that. And it was quite encouraging, at least seeing the work we were putting in and appreciating us in that moment. And I would say he also introduced me to some people, and I think one of the biggest way that he appreciated me was bringing me on a few projects he was working on. I think having trust in me to be able to bring me on a few on important projects was quite I think it was indicative of his appreciation towards the work I did.
All
So
right.
yeah.
All right, that's cool. Speaking of trust, I feel like now there's been a lot of like we've lost a lot of trust in industries, in companies, and in organizations. How do you think like the trust can come back? With like the example I gave, for instance, now if I'm getting into a new job, I have like X kind of perception. I've built a kind of guard before I even get there. So like somebody for yourself, like Belinda, how do you build trust for an organization?
I think that first off, it would totally depend on how the organization receives and treats me as I start working with them. Because as you said, for instance, you have already, there's a guard that you already have on. So the only way to allow that guard to come down is for the organization to like, show signs of doing something good, showing that they actually care about you. There are some organizations I know that the HR will insist that you go on your leave, whether you like it or not. They'll tell you you have this number of days, the year is getting to a close. What are you doing about it? They will make sure that you actually take the leave. If you have to work let's say extra, or you need to travel and stuff, they make sure that things are in place for you. So who wouldn't want to open up and do more for such an organization, right?
Yeah.
Because you know that they truly care about you. They care that if you are traveling, you make extra expenses, so they'll give you extra monies for what you need. At transportation, you're not going with any mad car like your car. Like, they're making sure that those things are put in place, and it's not something that they are doing because they want you to put in extra work or something. No, it's just because that is the system they have built. And as I said, the organization I'm talking about, it's not a Ghanaian organization. It is something that is an organization that is they have like an office here, but it's managed by I think Europeans or something. So I think these Ghanaian, not to say that they are not doing well, okay. I think there are some Ghanaian companies that are also doing well. But these are some of the things that if you truly want an employee to open up and truly work for you, I think this is some of the things, just show me. You have to show me something. Show me something. It's like a guy going in for a new girl or something. They
Exactly.
open up themselves, they show you what you want to see.
Exactly.
And then I
Show
met my
working.
girl now. Exactly. So yeah, that's what I think, that they should actually, go a step further to show that they actually care about the employees by putting in these systems so that employees can, truly open up and work well.
All right.
Okay, so I would say trust goes both ways. But for me, trust is um you behaving as I expect you to behave. So I think it goes in the positive and the negative direction. So we can say that you can trust a company that they always feel you, no matter what, they always feel. That's his trust. You've trusted them, and you can also trust them in the positive way that no matter what, you are going to be paid. Your bonuses are going to come on time and things like that.
Salary is going to come on time.
Exactly. So it would be the company being plain with their intentions. So whatever they expect you to do, as you said previously with the jobs description, they should act as according to what they give you, and they should respond in a manner of appreciation when you go a little beyond what you are required to do, and
Right.
you also behaving as they expect you to behave. So there can be a mutual relationship of trust
All
between
right.
you.
I wish I could add some to this, but I have no words here. I'm still building my trust. I think as we wrap up, so this is our last question or conversation topic. There are people out there that are like being bullied in their workplace. They are being treated unfairly, and they don't have the voice to speak up. I feel like they've not gotten there. They've not gotten the strength to be able to do that yet. And we hope you heal and you get the strength to do that. But before we go, do you have like any last words for anybody out there who is going through like an experience you've gone through in the past, has been bullied, is being treated unfairly, is being underpaid, is being forced to work extra hours, but they don't have the strength to take themselves from that situation. Sometimes people want to leave such situations, but the thing is, if I leave that job, where else am I going? I feel like there are no more opportunities out there for me, and so people like that stay there, and which is sometimes sad and disheartening. But what are some of like some words or words of encouragement you can give to somebody like that? And how do you think somebody like that can just possibly work around it and navigate themselves out of such situation?
Okay, I would say, well, if you can't leave at that time, the best thing for you to do is upskill. So work on yourself. Try to improve your current skills. There are many opportunities out there, freelance opportunities that you can explore. So there are free tutorials on YouTube and things that you can. So once you upskill your yourself, you are open up to more opportunities, and you can potentially leave, or you can be of more value to the current organization if you decide to stay. So I think the best thing is for you to improve yourself. Once you improve yourself, many opportunities would come your way.
All right, thank you, Edwin.
Okay, so I think the first thing I would say is to pray, because I'm a Christian, I'm a child of God. And I think one of the ways that I was actually able to get through such situations was when I prayed. That was the first thing, to pray and ask God for strength, to pray for guidance, pray for wisdom on how to navigate. And one thing that I would also say is that if there's the opportunity for you to leave, of course, you should leave. I mentioned something about how I wouldn't want to work in sorry, an organization that had you know, men who were humanizers and things like that. But as I'm sitting here, I think I have actually remembered that I would, because I think that 70% or even 80% of organizations here in Ghana have bosses who do those things.
Yeah.
And really, if you tell me that you are leaving a place because of such things, there's a high chance or possibility that you would go and meet those things, elsewhere. But one thing that's and this is one thing that my counselor, not counselor who is counseling me, but yeah, there's like a group in my church called counselors. So basically, we are in training now. And he mentioned that there's this lady in his who was in his workplace, and all of the ladies had like the bosses making advances towards them and stuff like that. But then for that particular lady, like no boss had made any advance toward her, and that was because of the way that she carried herself in such a way that you yourself, you can't come and tell her those kinds of things. So as Edwin said, upscaling, and then building yourself so much that there's so much value in you, such that even if a boss tries to do that thing, they know that if they lose you and eventually they find out that it was because of them, they know that they're in trouble. So you make sure that you have a certain, create whatever it is, create that value for yourself so much that whatever it is that is probably hovering around and causing you to, if let's say it's, for instance, a human being that is causing those things for you, such that the person wants, if the person knows that if you have to report them or something like that, they are the ones who will be in trouble, because there's so much value in you, the company values you so much. So upscaling, as Edwin said, and then making sure that whatever value that you need to build up and get, to make sure that you are that person that the company cannot lose until you say that I'm done with you and I'm leaving. You make sure that you do those things. And as I already said, pray, because for me, it is one of the things. God can do every and anything. So yes, for me, I think those are the two things that I would say. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So just to add up before we wrap up, like Belinda said, pray. And I think prayer is so so good because there was an instance where I was in a situation, a work situation that I wasn't happy about. But my thing was, God, if I leave here, where else am I going? And I prayed for a sign on what to do. And miraculously, the sign fell on my lap because God came through for me. And then, as Edwin also said, upscaling, all those things have been beneficial to my life because I was in a setting where I felt like, okay, this is not the place for me again. That was why I started learning design because I wanted something else. And now I have become of value to myself, to any other company I join. So I'm just touching up on the things they said. Upskill, build a relationship with God. If you're a Muslim, build a relationship with Allah. I can't speak for the other ones, but that's what I would say. And like she said, have a certain rapport. And I also think that how you carry yourself in an organization would also depend how you are
Yeah.
treated.
Yeah.
So this is it all for today. My guests were Belinda and Edwin. It's been an amazing episode. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And this has been Untold Truth. Thank you and see you later. Bye.